Cedar Point sits on a peninsula in Sandusky, Ohio. The beautiful surroundings of lake and beaches makes it one of the most attractive locations of any amusement park in the country. But that huge benefit of being on such a great location is also one of their biggest roadblocks. While many people refer to Cedar Point as being landlocked because of their situation, the term landlocked actually applies to areas that don't have access to waterways or land that is completely surrounded by lots owned by a different party. So Cedar Point isn't landlocked, they're just plain out of space. Because of them being out of room, they basically have to remove something old to build something new. Gatekeeper took out 2 rides for it to be built. Steel Vengeance was a rebuild of Mean Streak, Rougarou was a remake of Mantis. Valraven was their only recent addition that didn't have to take anything out, they just had to move a couple rides around. So, this brings us to the big question on everyone's mind. Where on earth are they going to build their next huge roller coaster? Cedar Point has recently moved in the direction away from record-breaking rides every few years. They're now focused on families and attractions that are aimed at those families. Forbidden Frontier, Snake River Expedition, Wild Mouse, restaurants, and parades have been the theme over the past few years. But that doesn't mean Cedar Point is done with what got them here in the first place. They will build a new roller coaster very soon, 2024 being the most likely year. But circling back to what we just said earlier, where will they find the room? We looked over the entire Cedar Point map and found 3 places that actually have enough room to fit a large roller coaster. None of these options are perfect. They all have their downsides for one reason or another, but we know Cedar Point is going to have to make some tough decisions, so here's what we found.
First, we have the area that was kind of freed up with the new boardwalk that's coming in 2023. By moving Scrambler and Matterhorn, they open up some possibilities, and these possibilities would have to include the removal of the classic ride Corkscrew and moving Planet Snoopy. While I find this the least likely out of the 3 options, it is a possibility. The space isn't huge with only 175,000 square feet, and the layout has to be something like a classic out and back, but like I said before, I do not see this happening.
The next space that we found is the huge parking lot off to the right of Gatekeeper and right along the beach. This is currently used for preferred parking and for a lot of employee parking. Now, like we said before, none of these options are perfect, so they would be losing out on a lot of parking, but this is the largest space that we found out of the 3. At almost 300,000 square feet, you could fit any roller coaster that you want. If you want a B&M Giga, they're not getting a B&M Giga. But if you wanted a B&M Giga, you could fit it in here. If you want a smaller, more compact coaster with room to expand with other rides in the future, you have that. If you want anything, you could fit it in a 300,000 square foot space. Now, one of the remedies that they could use for losing some of these parking spaces, they could build a parking garage for employees, because employees, it wouldn't be quite as bad as building a parking garage for all the guests, which would be a huge nightmare. So I would never suggest a parking garage for just the regular guests, but a parking garage for employees and maybe preferred parking, since those aren't as many people that use preferred parking, that could work. And that would eat into some of this 300,000 square feet, but not a ton. So you would still have room for a massive roller coaster. So that's why we found this as one of the 3 spots that they can fit a new roller coaster.
Now last but certainly not least, because I do think this is the most likely option, is removing Snake River Falls, or either removing Professor Dilbert's Frontier Fling or moving it to another spot in the park. While this is the smallest area at 130,000 square feet, I just really can see Snake River Falls getting removed because it never has that large of a line, and Professor Dilbert's Frontier Fling is a very easy ride to move to another spot in the park because they have done it before. Now this area, whatever ride would go there, if they do choose to build a ride in this area, it would probably have to go over the water, which could make it tricky for it to be a wooden coaster. So I'm not entirely sure what kind of coaster it'll be, but I do think that this is the most likely option out of these 3.
So that's it for this video. Hope you enjoyed it. Make sure you leave a comment down below and let us know what you think of these 3 spots and which one you think is most likely. Or if there's a spot in the park that you found that you think a roller coaster would fit in, go ahead and drop that down below. And let's see if maybe we missed something that might actually be the next spot that they have their new roller coaster. So if you liked the video, go ahead and give it the like, give us a subscribe. It's free to do and it helps out the channel greatly. And we'll see you guys next time on Beach Cliff Studios.